Hi, and welcome to Three Questions with my friend Shawn Walsh with us from Encore Strategic. Shawn, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kevin. Good to talk to you.
So, Shawn, let's just jump right in. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So we help businesses profit, grow, and exit. And we say that in that order because we deal with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of them are struggling to make a good living or making the living they should be making from their business. So the first thing we want to do is we help them dial in their profitability and we give them metrics. We help them build a budget, understand how to price their products effectively. And we want to get them to the point where they understand what healthy numbers and healthy metrics are for a business. And once we get that dialed in, then we start talking to them about, now, how do you grow this thing? Now that you've got the recipe down pat, how do we start expanding it, growing it, building volume, building your team? So that's the growth portion. And then finally, we have the exit portion. And in the exit portion, it's really important for people to keep in mind that whether they're ready to exit their business now or not, they will be exiting their business at some point, whether they think that or not. I often say to people, we think that we're going to pick the day that we retire from our company, but the day chooses you. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's not. In my case, I had a big national company that came and made me an unexpected offer. And luckily, the business was in an excellent condition to sell where it was attractive to a buyer. And my wife took one look at the offer letter, looked at me and said, it's time for us to go, right? That was a good thing. My business partner, unfortunately, his daughter got very sick and he sold the company because it was more important to spend time with his family.
Yep.
And I've seen people in that situation. And again, he was very lucky in that the business was in an excellent condition to sell. But I've had people who get into a situation like that, a bad health diagnosis or some type of family emergency, and the business isn't in a good shape to sell. And the worst thing that I have to do in this line of work is to tell somebody that your business is not nearly as valuable as you think it is. And it's going to take 5 to 10 years for us to get it there. So my philosophy is we should always have your business in the best condition to sell it and make it attractive to a buyer, even if you have no intention of selling it right now, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
Fine. So a couple of follow-up questions. I want to start with pricing. I find that can be challenging for a lot of us. You're like, is my services really worth X dollars an hour? So sometimes confidence gets in the way and you're like, well, I'll price it lower, Shawn, because then everyone will want to use my services. Not a great strategy, right?
Yeah, imposter syndrome is real.
Mm-hmm.
The people who undervalue our services the most are usually us.
Yep.
And people have to get over that. They have to understand that there is value to their services, and a lot of times they really truly warrant a premium price. And if you're competing on price, there's a problem there because you're not only undervaluing yourself, but you're undervaluing the market as well. And there are people that I see, they go, hey, we're growing like crazy. It's like, but then we dive into the numbers and it's like, well, that's great. You're growing like nuts, but you're not making anything because of course you're getting more clients because you're half the price of your lowest competitor and they're going to go to you, but you're not making anything for your time. So again, I want to make sure that everybody's making a healthy profit. I don't want people taking advantage of their clients, but you're entitled to make a healthy profit. And when I look at it as being a client of a company, I want you to make a healthy profit, because if you're providing a valuable service, I want you around a year or two from now when I continue to need you. And if you're not making a healthy profit, you're not going to be here when I need you to. So, people I deal with, I tell them, look, I will not beat you up on price as long as it's a fair price, because I want you to be a healthy business. So yeah, you really have to look at what you're charging. Is it appropriate? There's an old joke out there that we'll sell it at a loss, but we'll make it up in volume. And sometimes I look at people's numbers and I have to remind them that's a joke, people. That's you don't really do that.
So my second follow-up question, you talked a little bit about it, is the exit strategy.
Sure.
When should we start talking about it? You know, someone's sitting going, Shawn, I'm gonna retire in 3 years. We should be having that conversation today, not in 2 years and 9 months.
Well, if you're telling me you want to retire in 3 years, the best time to have that conversation was 3 years ago. The next best time is today. So, as soon as possible. I mean, you know, I love it when I have somebody who tells me, you know, I'm 40 years old and I want to retire by the time I'm 55. How do we make sure that happens? You know, I started doing a 10-year plan for me to exit my company. And we started now, when we sat down and we figured that out, I sat there with my coach and I said, 10-year plan. If I'm here past 10 years and 1 day of this date, something went wrong. I said, I can exit comfortably anytime between year 6 and year 10. The offer I had on my company came in at 5 years and 9 months. And we exited, and the sale was complete almost to the day of 6 years. So to answer your question, you should be having that conversation as early as possible. Preferably, I would prefer at least 5 to 10 years before the time that you want to get out.
Because I find a lot of times we all overprice our company. You know, it's got a great name recognition, you know, the goodwill, if you will. You know, and like I said, when you have to, it must be awkward when you have those conversations saying, well, this is what the numbers say, Kev. You know, I know you think it's worth more.
I've never met a business owner who doesn't think their company is worth more than it is. Even myself, you know, they say a good acquisition or a good sale of a company is when both parties walk away feeling like they got screwed. So,
but equally,
right? Exactly. Hey, you know, that's part of the thing that we do in that education during those 5 to 10 years is educating people on what are the factors that truly go into creating value for a buyer. And then there's 8 factors that we teach that are involved in the value of a company to a prospective buyer. Only one of those factors is EBITDA, or the profit after taxes. So the other 7 factors are the things that affect the multiple of EBITDA that you will get in the sale. And even a healthy company, there are things that we can do in that 5 to 10 year time frame to increase the value of those other factors to increase your multiple. You know, one of the things that people hear about is a financial buyer or a strategic buyer. Okay, financial buyer is somebody who's going to come in, look at your EBITDA, and give you a standard multiple for your industry. A strategic buyer is somebody who says, you have something that I can leverage and get more value out of. Yep. Strategic buyers will pay more. To give you an example, my company was in IT services. When I sold my company, we got a multiple of between 7 and 8x, which is a very healthy multiple for a general services company in that space. You know, I was very happy with that multiple. My business partner had an IT services company that focused specifically on one industry. That's all they serviced. They serviced financial services companies. They had a large company come to them and say, we are growing this business just for financial services companies. We want a company like yours. There's not a lot of people around like you. They got 18x.
Wow.
Big difference. And so that's one of the things that we can work on. Are there potential strategic buyers who are willing to pay a higher multiple than the normal financial buyers that most of us go out and look for in the general audience?
Sure. So Shawn, what's the best way for people to reach out there? How can they learn more, my friend?
Absolutely. So Shawn at EncoreStrategic.io. And EncoreStrategic.io is our website if they want to go out and take a look at some of the things we do. My direct or our office number is 603-707-4444. And we do work with companies all over the country, and even Canada and the Caribbean, working with companies in the Netherlands and the UK. So we are all over the place. Geography is not really a limiting factor for us.
Awesome, Shawn. I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to come on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. Great talking to you.